Donald Trump did a town hall last night, and boy, do I have a quote for you. So, talking about the economy, he said the following. We need regulation, but immediately every agency will be asked to rate the importance of their regulations, and we will push to remove 10% of the least important. You could reduce the number of regulations by 10% without accomplishing much. I think it probably would be possible for a new administration to make changes that would reduce the cost of these programs by at least 10% while still maintaining essentially the same level of environmental protection. All right, now let me pause here real quick and just break that down before we get to the meaty part of the quote. Two things about that. Number one, the general idea of cutting regulations by 10% is not a crazy idea. And in fact, I lean in the direction of believing there are just 10% of burdensome, silly regulations that make no sense, that really are the red tape that people on the right always talk about. So that I could actually be on board with. What I don't get in this portion is, he says, oh, well, you can essentially keep the same level of environmental protection. Okay, Don, you just released a plan like a few weeks ago that said you're going to eliminate the FDA. Excuse me, not the FDA. Well, yes, the FDA, but also the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, or as you famously called during the primary, the Department of Environmental, DEP. No, yeah, that's what he said. Department Environmental Protection? Is that what he thought it was? He said DEP. He thought there's a federal program called DEP, which there's not. So, which is it? You said eliminate the Department of Environmental, or the EPA, and now you're like, well, I mean, you could keep the same level of environmental protection. Which is it? Which is it? That's a contradiction. It's one or the other. Either you eliminate the EPA, or you can keep the protection the same while cutting 10%. So that's the first part here. But here is the part where everybody's like, huh? He said, we are cutting the regulation at a tremendous clip. I would say 70% of regulations can go. It's just stopping businesses from growing. 70% of regulations can go. 70% of regulations can go. Okay, let's just get an admission up front here from Don. You really did just pull that number out of your rectum. That's the most made-up number I've ever heard in my life. 70% of them can go. 70%. 70%? 70%. 70%. Dude, look, here's how too reasonable I am on this issue. If Donald Trump had gone out there and said as much as about 20%, if he had said 20% of regulations could probably go, I wouldn't even be doing this segment. Because again, look, I get it, man. I get it. There are regulations on the books that are unreasonable, that are silly, and that have built up over the years, and it's just red tape, and it's over the top, and the right wing has a point when they say, let's get rid of the burdensome regulations that are unnecessary. So if he went as far as saying 20%, other liberals would be pissed at me for agreeing with it, but I would agree with it. That's fine. When you said 10%, that's fine. 20%, okay, I'm still with you. Once you get to 25, I start going, okay, now you're getting a little kooky. 30, oh, whoa, pump the brakes. He said 70! 70% of regulations! That's the fucking craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. But then again, so this goes back to the specific plan that he released not that long ago, where he said, yes, I want to eliminate the FDA food police. They fucking check your food to make sure there's not salmonella and E. coli in there. There's not a listeria outbreak. He wants to eliminate them, and he wants to eliminate the EPA, as he said. And the list goes on of the different organizations. He's like, yep, scrap that one. That one's stupid. Okay, the guy wants to repeal Dodd-Frank. Now, don't get me wrong. I dislike Dodd-Frank, but I dislike Dodd-Frank because it doesn't go far enough. Not that, oh, let's get rid of the few things it does that are good. God, oh my God. This guy is a fucking lunatic, man. Like, that's not on the table. That's not on the menu of things that make sense. You could take, I don't know, probably the most extreme Republican outside of Trump, and they wouldn't say 70% of regulation should be cut. 70% of regulations? He says get rid of all regulation on coal and big oil and energy. Okay, you have to understand, dude, without regulations in those fields, like for coal, for example, we've covered stories, even with the current regulations, people still die of black lung. He's like, yeah, deregulate more. Really? So what are you going to do? You're going to have fucking people working in these mines for 15 hours a day, breathing in the toxic air, not having rules about how they need to cover their face so that they don't get sick and die at the age of 37. Like, he's just not a deep thinker. He doesn't care. And I don't know which it is. I don't know which is worse. But, you know, all these super important regulations in fields like that, safety regulations. I mean, disposing of chemical waste from, certain kinds of plants. This is stuff that Trump looks at. It'll cost the business people extra money to get rid of it in a safe way. Get rid of it. Tremendous, believe me. Forgetting that we had a system like that. And what happened? This is how the Hudson River got absolutely destroyed and is full of toxic chemicals. Business people were like, I don't know, just fucking dump it in the Hudson River. Nobody's looking, bitch. Okay, no, but see, that's the problem. This is why you need regulation. But he doesn't care about the problem of externalities. He doesn't care about the problem of unintended consequences of having a free marketplace in a capitalist system where there's all these side effects that are negative. I mean, again, so like child labor laws, that actually came about after a fight to get them. There was a time when it was just assumed, the kids fucking go work and they work long hours and that's that. That's how it is. Eventually, you had to have liberals stand up and fight back and go, how about no? How about we don't have our kids fucking bust their ass from when they're toddlers and we let them go to school and, have a separate thing going on? Again, you had to fight for that. These are all regulations that were important. This idea, just get rid of 70% of them, that's insanity.